Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. And there'll come a time when the words magnetic service will make more sense than they do today. Well, there is much going on right now in this year, and I want to review a little of it. And then I want to broach the next subject. You're 6 months into 2013. And when 2013 was broached and that energy was presented for the first time, and when I channeled in it for the first time, much was already happening. Energy does not shift on this planet instantly. If the potentials are high that are going to take you into, let's say, another kind of energy, you're going to start way before the marker is passed that says you're there. If you haven't noticed, God is slow. By the way, humans are impatient. And so there is always this fight in perception, even with the old souls, who feel it coming, know when it's there, and yet they're not pleased with what is there. They want what is coming. And so the old soul is always a little ahead of themselves. We begged you for patience in past channelings. We've told you that it is an attribute that the old soul needs to absorb. In this particular year, as a review, we have told you that the energy is odd. It isn't what you're used to. We gave you information as to why. We told you that this marker that was passed, it was the center of the precession of the equinoxes, was important. It was important to the indigenous, for they saw it as the last of 5 markers, giving you the opportunity to move, literally, as the human race, into a place that nobody thought you would go. We told you about a shift in human nature, a recalibration of dark and light, even a recalibration of the very universe. It's that critical, it's that important, it's that significant. And here is then a group of old souls who are in the room, who are listening, perhaps even reading, in what you would call different three-dimensional time frames. And yet I can see the potentials of all of you. And some will be hearing and listening to different things and reading past 2013. And some will hear this and read this and know I'm right. But for now, in this room, and for those in 2013, I tell you, it's a good year to turn inward. It's a good year to allow the patience of a recalibrating self. What you are doing in the word recalibrate is to allow a different kind of reality to be your normal. It's a paradigm shift of reality. And in that shift, old soul, you are going to feel it at many levels. And some of you will consider the perception of being sick during this year is what's happening to you, and it's not. For you only have one word for feeling bad: sick. We have many for you. Graduation. Awareness. Recalibration. Sometimes it takes its toll on your biology for you're not feeling 100%. Sometimes it takes a toll in your energy. Sometimes it's in your balance. You're dizzy. Sometimes it's in your sleep patterns. And you miss a good night's sleep, don't you? Sometimes it's beyond that. It's in the active things that happen around you. Sometimes it's in relations. Sometimes it's even when you lose somebody that you didn't think you'd be losing this soon. And what it does to all of you is pushes you into a place you would not have gone otherwise. And the old soul that is here, listening, reading, hearing, is aware of what I say. And so we're going to put that aside. But you had to hear it from me again in this halfway point of 2013. It's not a good year to continue the pace you've been working at. For it, the pace you've been working at and pushing like you have in the past, slogging through and fighting the old energy as you have in the past, you're going to lose sight of the core. Who are you? What are you doing here? What could you do right now to bolster the knowledge and the wisdom that you have for the planet for the next step? And so we're going to tell you. And some of these things will be germane to you, that is to say, they will apply. And some will not because you passed them. But I want you to know that there are many listening, hearing, and reading who need to hear these things. We're going to pass into something that we're going to call spiritual maturity. Maturity, you understand. And you would apply the word. Because when children are no longer children, and they start to be young men and women, you will look at them and say they are maturing. When they pass a certain kind of age, and they're starting to understand what you know and have known all along, adults, you will say they are now matured. That they have a wisdom factor that they did not have as children. Children have childlike thoughts and believe certain kinds of things until they mature. So you're starting to pass a maturity marker that is going to require that you understand the following things that I'm going to list for you. Earlier in the year, we started listing some things and asked you to have what we would call spiritual common sense. Now we are enhancing it. Spiritual maturity. Using new wisdom and common sense to look at some of the things around you in a way you never have. Some of these are controversial. They're controversial because they fly in the face of what you've been told. Perhaps even wound part of you which wants to do something, and I'm telling you, perhaps it's time to move. Things that maybe you're attached to and feel good about, and I'm telling you, it's time to discard them. Old souls, think about your lineage. Think how long you've been on the planet. Think about the human nature you have gotten used to. Think of the battles that you've been through. You didn't wake up this time to become an old soul. Let me tell you, most of the ones in the room have fought the old energy for lifetimes. Old souls know. Some of you had to come into the planet only to leave quickly because you said something wrong. Some of you have tried all your life to accomplish the kinds of things that now you're starting to see on the planet. Most of you have come in with what I will call an Akashic agenda, built to awaken. And in the awakening, impatience. It's built in. You can hardly wait to accomplish what you came for. Well, if you're going to do it, then here's the list. Drop the mythology. You've got a mythology around God, and it's so prevalent on the planet, and it's everywhere. And you've got to have to drop it. And it's so difficult to even begin to explain it. How do you picture God? The creative source of the universe, who loves you so much that you're part of the plan, that you're called a child of God, that you're a piece of the universe, then there was no beginning to you and there will be no end, and the whole universe is like a speck of time. How do you picture the parent God, the one in you, the one that's eternal, that's part of your soul group? How do you picture that? There's mythology on the earth that takes humanism and puts it on God. And God has feelings, and God has punishment, and God has rewards, and none of it's so. God is God. A physics that does not argue with itself, that is perfect in its own system, that is beautiful, and is a oneness that cannot be denied. God is one of the only energies that exists that you know of that is not polarized. For it is singular and beautiful and one. And so you come into the planet, and what have you told? There's a mythology that says that God is displeased with that or pleased with this. Forget it. There is no pleased or displeased. There's only love. Do you understand? You've come in with mythology that says perhaps you were born a certain way so that you could climb certain stairs and get to God better. There is no getting to God better, dear ones. You're already a piece of it. Do you understand? Paradigm that has you graduating so that you're more acceptable to Spirit is very human of you. Human nature placed upon God. How do you see angels? You put skin and wings on them and give them names? How human of you. Did you know that doesn't exist? In the singularity of God, there are energies that are part of the soup of creation that present themselves and speak, I am one of them. And yet I am all of them. I am not singular. There is no Kryon. There is an energy of the other side of the veil that has been given a name for you that means something else. And you recognize the energy of it, and I'm different every time I come in. As my human host clears his filters, the purity of God changes in the channels. Did you know that? You won't find individual entities in the soup. There are energies, but the energies, as specific as you may see them, for instance, Archangel Michael, male, powerful, angelic, with a message. Male, just for you. Polarized, just for you. Means power. Angelic, angel, wings, that's for you. It means divine. Pay attention. Power. Pay attention. Message for you. It's all for you. Designed for your reality. And none of it is so. Archangel Michael is a piece of the whole, a beautiful. Every time Archangel Michael speaks, it's from all of us. Did you know that? But it's a singular message of love. Never conflicts with itself, just like physics does not conflict with Kryon, because I am part of that and it is part of me. We are not separate. We are not independent. You walk around in corporeal bodies and you have names. We don't. We are one. And every message is from all of us. Do you realize that it resounds in your corporeal body because the divine part in you is also part of us and receives the message at the same time it's given, and you resound with it if your filters are clear. So there's talks of wars in heaven. Can you imagine? Physics arguing with itself. There's no polarity in God. There are no fallen angels with God. The mythology is there. And in an old energy, it served you. For it helped give a parable to you to understand perhaps a little more in your language, in your reality. To understand a little more about the dark and light. And it's not true. There's no such thing as a division of love. Love is pure. It is the creation source. And so all of these mythological stories are for you to help understand, and that was in the old energy, and now we're asking you to drop it. To see it for what it is in its majesty and splendor, and in the beauty that is in you. Not divided, not polarized. You don't have to fight a devil. In the corporeal human being, there is duality. That's the duality that you're going to fight. On earth, in the crystalline grid, in all of Gaia, there is a duality. As you've placed it there, that's what you've been fighting. You fight the test in 3D of the planet in order to find the divine, pure love of God. It's just always been divine and always been pure and never polarized. Drop the mythology. Do not attempt to put human nature attributes on the divine source of God. And if you hear it and if you do it, you'll know that's what children do. And now you're mature. That's one. The next one, don't misinterpret. It's called accountability. It's not what you think. Your parents told you it's time to be accountable for what you do. Take responsibility for what you do. And so in your reality, you're thinking of it in one way. But you haven't heard what we have to say yet. I want you to take accountability, old soul, for the full spectrum of who you are. If something good happens, dear ones, listen to me. I want you to take accountability for it.